try to keep them off the drugs. When you have a problem with the Oxycontin, the heroin, the coke, oh shit, throw a rock and he had a problem with it. So we started doing the podcast a couple years back so that we could check in on him, make him kind of accountable to a lot of people. He used to be just accountable to our little inner circle of friends. Now, thanks to the podcast and him putting his issues out on Front Street like he does on the show, he's accountable to everybody else. It's been working very, very well. We go around with the show and do it everywhere. Chit chat. Normally, the show is made up of me and him talking to each other, and at the end, we play a game with the audience. But for the Super Movie Cartoon movie tour that we've been going around since we watched the cartoon, and since we're at Comic Con, of course, it makes more sense to kind of open it up to Q&A. So this time around, when we do the show, as we have been for this tour since April, it'll be Q&A based. We're going to open it up to you guys. There's two lines, I think. Is this a Kevin line, and that's the J line, vice versa? J line over here, Kevin line over here. We do that so that Jason gets a chance to answer the question, because as you can see, once I get the mic, I'm like, we'll go until they boot us out, and then we'll start over here, and then we'll jump over to my side. First question for Mr. Jason Huseman. Take it away.
My name's Dave. Since you mentioned about the Fat Batman, I know you guys don't get a lot of chance to go out and forward and see stuff. There is a Sinestro Corps Batman. That's pretty awesome. So if you get a chance to check him out, he's pretty legit looking.
It's a Sinestro Corps Batman?
Yeah, it's from a very limited Arkham and crossover to Green Lantern Corps.
Is he fat or no?
No.
I only dig fat costumes. It takes 2 balls to pull a costume on over lard and blubber. I know I do it every fucking day. So, thin people, they put on costumes. Ooh, that's cute. You should be doing that every fucking day. Fat people, I enjoy the fat costume. But I'll look out for that.
My main question, though, is kind of both of you, but mainly to Jay. I know +1 per diem. I've enjoyed that when the few times that we did it from moment to moment. It's pretty cool hearing more, not just your rendition of your life and stuff you do with Jen, but Jordan's been a big part of your life. Is the stuff, things that she does with you, from my perception and the stories I've heard from you. Have you thought about doing like a +1 type thing?
Great question.
Yeah. Her and I have talked about it a couple times, but I don't know, she's not into being on mic or up on stage or anything as much. Like I feel like even if her and I sat down and started talking, and if she knows the mic's on, she wouldn't really open up, I don't feel like. Maybe she would have, and she did a few times, but I told her at one point, I said, we should talk and record and just start recording, sort of start doing a podcast. We don't even have to put it up if you don't want, but maybe we can hold on to it so we can go back and listen to it and see what we were talking about, 3 years ago and what we're doing around. She said, well, maybe we will, but we haven't done it. But it is a good question. I want to at least see if I can get her to do that so we can start, having some stuff we can go back and listen and see what we talked about 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
All the podcasts would be about how you put your dick on her arm.
Yeah, her perspective on it. Like if she's like, while you did that, I was thinking about stabbing it with my pinky nail. Or if she's like, I knew it was gonna suck it, but I had to finish this email. But it would be interesting to see what she has to say. So I don't know, I should try again. It's been a while, and it's just I haven't talked to her about it. But it'd be nice to have some stuff. See what she has to say.
What if you guys did like a foursome to start off with?
I think the actual sitting down talking, the 4 of us, I don't know, I think again, she's not comfortable, so especially if she was there, I think that he would take over the mic. And then he would start telling, if you notice even with his wife, he'll tell his wife to do stuff. Jen's definitely open to speaking her mind and saying what she wants to say, but I feel like he leads it. So if he was there, he would take charge of it all, which isn't a bad thing. But I'm just saying, he has enough podcasts anyway. I don't need to try to get him to do another one. I'll be like, come on, do this with us. But again, I'd like to go with her, and if it turns out funny, I wouldn't mind putting it up. But we used to do the morning show, and every once in a while Jordan would sit down and the four of us will all be at the mic, and I thought that was fun. So hopefully we'll get to do something like that again at some point.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
All right, over here.
Jason, Kevin, I'd like to start off by just welcoming you to Baltimore. Thanks for taking time to be here. Kevin, since you've obviously mastered the world of podcasting, I was wondering if you had any advice for amateur podcasters trying to expand their listener base.
Yeah, the first piece of advice is very easy to master the podcast world. Just do it. Like that's the only difference is doing a podcast or not doing a podcast. Once you've done it, you are a fucking master. If you continue to do it, you're a blind drunken master. Whatever you do it. And I've been saying on tour with this like a lot. I've been advocating for everyone to go out and fucking record their own podcast. How does one capture a larger audience though? I kind of came with the benefit of like we had this whole other career. Sure. When we started the podcast, we were like, hey, we talk about that, we'll talk about this, blah, blah, blah. But I start with a leg up, Adam Carolla starts with a leg up, Chris Hardwick, the Nerdist, starts with a leg up, he comes from television. Jay Moore starts with a leg up. A lot of us, have started with an audience from somewhere else. So I don't know how to kind of grow an audience from scratch. I've never had to really do that myself. Thankfully, like Miramax picked up Clarks and stuff for the first few years of my career, somebody was putting money into it and they would introduce me to the world, so to speak. I don't know how one gets it out there to a wider audience. I mean, honestly, it's just the more you do, the more people find it. It doesn't matter what show we do on the network. It's not like everything I do fucking has a zillion subscriptions. Not at all, man. Some stuff slowly builds. Babylon was a slow builder. Like for a long time, we were at like 75,000 subscriptions, and then I don't know. So like somebody started passing it around or something, and then it started climbing, and now it's like 200 or 300 or something. But that was word of mouth. I mean, that's the best I can kind of point to. Using Twitter, of course, is very helpful. You'll get a bunch of people tweeting back and like, stop talking about your fucking podcast. Sure. Talking about your wife's asshole again. So, that's the point. It's like, well, on the podcast, that's when I'm talking about my wife's asshole. So I'm tweeting to tell you how to get there. I don't know how one garners a larger audience beyond just practice makes perfect and do it again and again and again. Build up an army behind you, man. Once you've got like 40, 50 episodes behind you, it's undeniable. I think there's a lot of people that I talk to in the podcast audience, they don't jump on the shows right away until they hit double digits because some cats launch and then just don't follow. So I guess the best advice I can give you is to just make as many as you can, and that's how they get out there. The long tail theory. What I find now is I spend a lot of time on Twitter, of course, very tweaking fucking moment. And what I see is people talking about podcasts that we did like 5 years ago. They're just finding them now. So, it's one of those things that takes patience, I guess, and you just keep doing it. Like, fucking keep your stick on the ice, keep your head down, head up actually, and just keep playing. I mean, it's kind of like soft. I wish I could be like, yeah, man, you buy this for $75, it'll give you all the answers. I don't know how one would go about starting from scratch with a pod and growing it into a larger audience, other than just keep doing it, and practicing.
Fair enough. Do you mind if I plug my show real quick?
Yeah, plug it. What is it called?
It's called Retro Game Squad. It's all about retro video games. So if you consider yourself an old school gamer, if you miss the days of sitting on the couch punching your bloody arm while you're playing Contra or Battletoads, how you feel, so come check out RetroGameSquad.com. Top right corner of the screen, you'll find our links to our RSS and iTunes.
Who do you go with?
That schmuck over there. And
matching shirts, it's so adorable.
We're international last night, so we had $20.
Why do you think green for that?
How long have you done this?
about their 1-year anniversary, so.
Right on. Isn't it fun?
It's awesome.
For anyone who's not doing it, man, just give it a shot. I've been saying it over and over again, like, I give out an assignment every podcast. Like, go out at some point over the next 2 years and record a podcast. Just see if you like it. Sit around with somebody, see your friends, your family, whoever the fuck, your kids if you got them. You got the technology to record. It's not like you have to go out and buy a fresh shit. You got a laptop, you got a smartphone, you're there. You've got a recording device, man. And it's a free medium right now. Nobody's regulating it, nobody's taxing it, and nobody's saying you got to pay to be involved. So right now, anybody can do it. Like it's this medium where there's no government interaction. Like right now, the internet's still wild, wild west out there. And for you to be able to like kind of put your own voice out there and your own fucking radio show, it's fun. You know, it's just like we play as kids, and then we get older, and you know, we work into the world of responsibility, and you have to kind of take care of people, make ends meet, and you tend to forget to play. And sometimes the easiest play is to just sit down and talk with some of your best friends. Like that's what I love about the shows. Not so much the here and now and the fact that we can take out the world or whatever makes me laugh right about now. But what I'm looking forward to is like, hopefully if I ever live that long, being 80, sitting in a fucking wheelchair drooling and listening to all these old conversations that I had with my friends and remembering like some of the best times in my life. It's so hard to find somebody who will make you fucking laugh really hard. And that's the cheapest, freest time on the planet. When you're laughing, man, that's it, you feel a little better, all those endorphins pump through and stuff. So the podcasts for me are just like an exercise and a daily exercise, and sit down, have some fucking laughs, man. Like just fucking let it all out. And anyone can do it. It doesn't take talent to have a conversation. We all know how to talk to each other. So it's not one of these things where you go like, oh, only fucking talented people do that. Bullshit, he does one. So. But do like he did, man. He's coming up on here, these two cats. That's fucking phenomenal. And you know, where it leads, you never know. I mean, I've told the story before, and I told it on a zillion podcasts. Some people listening won't be tired, but fuck them, they're not here. There's a friend of mine, Brian Johnson, man. Brian Johnson, who's on Comic Book Man. And we're out here this weekend shooting at the con. The boys are all here with us. Brian at one point was kind of depressed and wasn't feeling great about being alive anymore and stuff. And would say cryptic shit like, I got one foot on the stool. And that would always disturb me because Brian Johnson was my hero. One of the most interesting, the most interesting person I ever met. Funniest person I ever met. Just didn't have a shit ton of self-esteem. Just was not a great self-starter. But man, was this like diamond in the rough, this magic fucking individual that just didn't feel like his voice fucking mattered. So for years and years, this is a guy that inspired me, man. Like Clerks exists because of Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson is random. When he was working with me and stuff, I was more Dante and shit. He was definitely more random. So without him, I don't have anything like that. So I built my career off without on the back of random, essentially. So to hear him talk about like not digging life and not feeling like everybody gives a shit, no self-worth, all this shit. I said, hey man, do me a favor, stop talking silly, just record a podcast. He's like, yeah, that's the cure for fucking what else. I was like, you never know, dude. Like whenever you're on our show, people say fucking great things about you. Because Walter and I would be on this podcast from time to time, so other podcasts. And so I said, hey man, they fucking love you guys. Come on and do your own fucking show. You don't need to be on my show. Just sit there and start talking. It's cheap therapy. And so Walter was kind of worried about it. So Walter was like, I'm going to do this podcast thing with him. He's going, I know Brian, it'll last like 3 episodes. He never finishes anything, but I'll do it with him just to fucking do it. And he put up the first episode, and the feedback was like instantly tremendous. By the 3rd episode, that show had shaped itself into what it is with Brian, and Walter. And it's therapy, man. Like, you can listen to Brian Johnson save his life on that show almost every week in the first 10, 20 episodes of Tell Him Steve did. So he started doing that, and I remember at one point he was like, I'm off the stool, dude. Like, this feels good. People actually give a shit what I said. They think I'm funny and blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Fucking do. So that, he wound up kind of saving his life, I always say. More than that, he also wound up, well, that's the most important thing, really. But then secondary to that, that podcast is turned into Comic Book Man. Like, that show doesn't exist without Tell Him Steve did. So you never know where it's going to go. And I'm not saying like every podcast will turn into a TV show, but think about it. Like I know for a fact a lot of people in the entertainment industry now looking at podcasts very closely because why? Farm team material, man. It's just a bunch of amateurs trying everything, trying anything. And if they pop, people are just now plugging them because you can easily change a podcast into a TV show. Podcasts become broadcasts just like that. So everyone in the room, and don't sit there and go like, I'm not fucking, I don't want to talk on a microphone, I'm not like that. Yes, you are. If you have a thought in your head, if you ever listen to the radio in your car, and you're like, oh my God, I'm fucking funnier than these people. I have better things to say than these people. Here's your chance, man. Get in and do a podcast before somebody figures out a way to regulate it, charge you for it, and stop you from doing it. Think about it. If you want to make a movie, you got to go to somebody and ask for permission or something like that, ask for some money, those things are expensive. If you want to be on TV, you want to do a TV show, you have to ask for permission. permission. They have to let you on and shit. Broadway play, whatever. All these things are prohibited, man. There's an eye of the needle that you got to try to do. Right now, podcast, anybody can do it. They don't turn anybody away, man. You record it, you pop it up there. You know, you're not.